Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today, I'm answering a question I've gotten quite a lot since the most recent update. The question being, what supership should I grind to? Well, that's a pretty good question because it's a pretty big commitment to, one, grind to a supership in the first place, and two, actually play the thing in battle, as these ships' economies are, well, terrible for making credits. Unless you have an absolutely amazing, like, Kraken 200,000 damage plus game in these ships, which isn't necessarily hard to do, but still doesn't happen too often, you are more than likely going to lose money, even running the full booster flags and camos and such. Short of running a Spring Sky camo, I'm running all the economic bonuses on this ship that you're watching me play on screen right now, which would be the answer to the question of what super ship should I grind to. And I would say quite simply the Satsuma, the tier 11, let's not kid ourselves here, this is essentially what these ships are, Japanese battleship. And I'll go into details to why here in a moment once you go through her characteristics and stats. So the Satsuma, what is this thing? Well, essentially it is a Shikishima with another turret on the rear of it. She has essentially the same guns as Shikishima, those 510mm 20-inch guns, and they are very good, and it's the reason why I would say take this ship out of the ones available, especially if you watch this channel. I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, why not Hanover? It's a mega GK. It's a massive ship. Sure, it is. And it's a very fun ship, but unfortunately, with the way the meta's going right now, even with Hanover's 14.5 kilometer secondaries that you can get with the combat instructions, it's just really not a good ship to use, especially in the situation that you're going to be in it. If you have the credits to burn, sure, go have some fun on the Hanover. It's a fun ship. I'm not saying that it's not, and it is a good ship in my mind. But in a ship where you have to perform amazingly well to even have a chance of making profit in the round, the Satsuma is where you want to be. So let's go over her stats now and get into the nitty-gritty of why. So, the armor. Well, she has a 32mm bow. Her deck plating's quite something. It's quite a mess. So you have a 32mm fore-end deck all the way up at the front, and all that orange mess you see in the middle on the screen right now, that's a combination of 57mm on the inner plates and 45mm on the exterior plates, all the way up and down her deck. Then when you get toward the end, it's 32mm again around the hangar deck, and then a 32mm stern. There's no wraparound bow armor like you get on the Hanover or anything like that. And it's pretty darn similar to the Yamato. You strip away her outer armor, and again, it's a very familiar sight. You have that Yamato octagonal shaped citadel. She shows a lot of weaknesses with the Yamato in this respect. She's not quite as easy, I've found, to get the cheek citadel on, where you aim at the base of the number 2 turret, you shoot there, and you get an easy citadel. It can be done. I'm not sure if it's maybe just RNG hating me or whatever when I'm fighting against the Satsumas that I run across. It's still possible, but it just seems to be a little less assured than with the Yamato. But rest assured, that weakness is still there, from my experience at least. Survivability, she has 119,200 hit points and 59% torpedo protection damage reduction. So almost a 60% torpedo damage reduction here. It's pretty darn good. So yeah, this thing can eat some torps. And again, for a gun, she has 8 of those 510mm 20-inch guns. With the build that I have on the Satsuma right now, which should have shown at the beginning of this video, I'll throw it up again right here. You get a 30.8 second reload time on these 8 18-inch guns. They have a turret rotation time of 55.2 seconds, maximum dispersion of 259 meters, and a maximum range of 27 kilometers. Her HE, which, why would you use HE in this thing? Okay, if you ever have to use HE, there's a maximum damage of 8,100, 40% chance of causing a fire, 85mm of HE pen, and comes out the tubes at 765 meters a second. The AP, which is what you should use, there's a maximum damage of 19,400, comes out the tubes at 765 meters a second, And again, that's the shell type that you want to use in this ship. She also has 2.1 Sigma, of course. Now, another big bonus of her 20-inch guns is that her combat instructions gives you a bonus to your accuracy. The combat instructions, once activated, gives you a 35% reduction to your main battery shared shell dispersion. So essentially, it pretty much gives you like battle cruiser dispersion for one shot. It's active for 25 seconds unless you've got some mega adrenaline rush going on, or you popped Yamamoto's special talent that is almost impossible to pop. You're only going to get one shot off. But still, for that one shot, you're going to have some amazing dispersion, which, again, with 20-inch guns, 8 20-inch guns, you can make some pretty impressive shots happen. Her secondary mount, she actually has some decent secondary guns. She gets those crazy Harugumo secondary guns, those 100mm guns. So she gets 28 of these 100mm guns that can reload in, God, I'm blind. 7 seconds. They reload in 7 seconds. You have maximum range of 7.7 kilometers, maximum damage of 1700, 6% chance of causing a fire, 30 millimeters of pin, and they come out the tubes at 1,000 meters a second. So, in another meta, you could actually secondary spec this ship, and it would work, but not in this meta. And then you get 8 of these 203mm guns on the side, almost kind of mounted almost as wing turrets there. Again, it's not a secondary ship, unfortunately. If this, again, was another meta, it probably would be a pretty good one, but not in this with Warships. Her AA, she has an rating rating of 84. Those 100mm guns certainly help contribute to that. In my experience, it's, again, just kind of like Yami in terms of AA. It's there. If a Tier 8 CV flies through it, it might hurt them, but most Tier 10 and Super CVs aren't really going to care too much. Maneuverability, 28.4 knots with the speed flag. She has a 1,020 meter turning circle radius and a rudder shift time of 22.4 seconds. Concealment wise, she gets 14.5 kilometers with the module and the commander skill. Alright, then that brings us to her box of gimmicks. I've already touched on her main gimmick, which is, of course, the firing. What do they call these now? Immediate main battery fire adjustment combat instructions. So again, after you get 12 shots around a target, you get a 35% boost to your main battery dispersion. She also gets a repair party, which lasts for 11 seconds and reloads in 76 seconds. A damage con that lasts for 11 seconds and reloads in 76 seconds. Then your repair party repairs 715 HP per second, is active for 30.8 seconds, and reloads in 76 seconds. You can get 5 of those with the build that I have on here. And you can choose between fighter or spotter. I choose spotter for when I really need those across the map shots. The reason I have my current build on it that I do for the modules, it gets that reload down from over 30 seconds to just at 30 seconds. And plus, if you take the range mod, I mean, good God, 27 kilometers with a spotter plane, that's enough to hit what you need to hit at. In my opinion, at least in random battles, the increased reload time makes up for that. Now, maybe for clan battles, you could take the range mod, that would make sense there. But other than that, I went with a standard battleship build. Again, building into the survivability with the commander skills, and then into the survivability and, of course, the aiming systems mod 1 for the modules. Again, pretty much a standard battleship build. So why is this ship the super ship you need to get? Well, because it fits the meta so perfectly, and it's so good at what it does. Again, you have 8 20-inch guns with this build that reload in 30 seconds, and this ship has some pretty darn consistent guns. As you'll see in the replay that should have been playing behind this video for this entire time, you get these consistent guns that hit hard. That, again, they're 20-inch guns that do 19,400 maximum damage. Now, of course, in the match you're watching right now, I did get off quite a few lucky shots at the beginning on a pretty darn oblivious Schlieffen, but that does go to show you how good these guns are. They connect on target. It's essentially good for the current meta in the same reasons that the Yamato is good for the current meta. Her armor is good at longer ranges. which means that when you're being retaliated on from across the map by the other Satsuma or the Hanover, your armor is going to be pretty good at dealing with those shells. Of course, with those 20-inch, 19-inch guns, they are going to overmatch your bow and stern armor. But for the other ships that you're going to see that aren't the Yamato or the Shikishima or the Incomparable or the Musashi, you don't care, because again, they cannot overmatch your armor. Now, of course, it doesn't have the wraparound icebreaker bow or stern like the Hanover does, so sure, if you do run across those 460mm plus battleships, they are going to overmatch your bow, but with the amount of health this thing has, and again, the gun range and accuracy, you can retaliate with interest to whomever comes across your path. And other super ships that I've had, which is this one, I've recently picked up the Hanover as well. This one is by far the most consistent performing. It's incredibly easy to get 120k plus, which seems to be the threshold for making at least a decent bit of profit in the Satsuma, even without running all the economic booster flags. If you get like 125k and a kill and do a couple things like defend a cap or shoot down some planes or something, you'll get at least 50,000 credits from the match, even on the losing team, which isn't a big credit margin. And again, these aren't supposed to be credit printing ships by any stretch of the imagination, but you're at least breaking even and making a little bit of profit on the side. So that's why I'd recommend you guys get this ship. She's the most consistent. She's by far the better between the current super ships in the game, which is just her and the Hanover. Now the Patrie, which is the French super ship, she's supposed to be coming out God knows when. That ship looks ridiculous, but we'll see when that ship does wind up getting here. So guys, really simple explanation. It's just the best. It fits the meta so well. It's a sad thing that the meta is this sit in the back snipe, but another thing too is, like you can see me do here, when we get to the end of the match here, I am able to push in because I've been sitting toward the rear for most of the match, been able to get those good shots in across the map, done a ton of damage already, and when you need to, you can push in at the end with this mega Yamato with most of its health intact, and it's a lot of health to burn down. Even with the current level of HE spam in the game, it's going to take a minute to chew through this thing's health. With 20-inch guns, with a button that literally just gives you 30% better, almost 40% better dispersion, it's a force to be reckoned with toward the end of a match for sure. So guys, this is what I would stick with for the time being, and with the economic rework on the horizon, we'll see how that changes things up there. But for now, this is the only one I would really focus on. The cruisers are pretty neat too, but like the Annapolis, for all you got to go through, the Des Moines, in my opinion, is better. The Conda's pretty neat. That's another one I might consider picking up. But for most of you guys watching the channel, this is the only one I would bother with for now. Again, we'll see about the Pod 3 in the future and what happens to that one, but this is my answer to that question. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 35,000 subs, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Saturday. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.